Turning to domestic politics, Mr Speaker, after weeks of chaos, this may be the lowest point yet for this government. A Prime Minister putting his own interests above the national interest.
Absolutely.
He has already had 4 Chiefs of Staff, 5 Directors of Communications, 3 Cabinet Secretaries and 4 Principal Private Secretaries. So does the Leader of the House not agree that perhaps the problem lies with the Prime Minister himself? On Tuesday, the Foreign Affairs Committee heard extraordinary evidence from Olly Robbins, the former Permanent Secretary at the Foreign Office. He described a dismissive attitude in Downing Street towards vetting and constant pressure to appoint Peter Mandelson to the most senior diplomatic role. He also told MPs that he was asked to give the Prime Minister's then Director of Communications a senior diplomatic post without informing the Foreign Secretary, it would seem. Mr Speaker, the Foreign Office is not a redeployment pool for failed political advisers. So can the Leader of the House tell us, was it appropriate for Number 10 to apply such pressure over Mandelson's vetting, or does he accept that due process was not followed? Does he believe the Prime Minister inadvertently misled this House? Does the Leader accept the Prime Minister continues to make statements that are hard to reconcile with reality? Can the Leader explain why Olly Robbins was sacked? And was it right and fair to sack Olly Robbins? Mr Speaker, the Prime Minister has never looked weaker. The Prime Minister is so weak that he's brought forward the moment of prorogation to avoid another bruising Prime Minister's questions. He's also lost the confidence of the entire country. So when will Labour MPs finally stand up for their constituents and join us in removing this dreadful Prime Minister? While the Prime Minister is consumed by internal chaos, the issues that matter to our constituents are being ignored. Energy bills are soaring, particularly for those in rural communities relying on heating oil. People are struggling to find work. Decisions on funding our national defence are being delayed despite global threats. At the same time, government backbenchers and cabinet members brief against each other, plotting over the Prime Minister's future. As this parliamentary session draws to a close, I doubt it will be remembered fondly by those on the government benches. Mr Speaker, in 2 weeks' time, voters will go to the polls in important elections across England and in parliamentary elections in Scotland and in Wales. In Scotland, Labour's campaign has descended into confusion, illustrated by the remarkable sight of the Prime Minister visiting the nuclear base at Faslane whilst avoiding any contact with his own party leader in Scotland, Anas Sarwar. It seemed the Prime Minister needed the protection of the nuclear deterrent from his own Scottish Labour colleagues. This government has found it easier to locate secret Russian submarines in the North Atlantic than it has finding the Scottish Labour leader in the south side of Glasgow. Across Scotland, voters are clear. They are tired of an SNP government distracted from delivery and focused on independence. But people are not powerless. The peach-coloured regional ballot paper gives voters the opportunity to prevent another SNP majority, as they did in 2016 and 2021. The result of another SNP majority in Scotland would be similar to the current Labour majority in this House. More broken promises, more chaos, more division. So does the Leader of the House agree that whether at Westminster or at Holyrood, governments deserve to be judged harshly if they don't stick to their promises and inflict chaos on our country?
Thank you, Mr Speaker, and certainly join the honourable gentleman in welcoming the birth of Lila and wish her and her parents all the very best indeed. Mr Speaker, today is St George's Day. I want to wish everybody a happy St George's Day. During this week, Mr Speaker, we have celebrated the centenary of the birth of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, and it has been announced that a trust will be established in honour of the life of the late Queen. The trust will focus on restoring shared spaces in communities, reflecting the late Queen's commitment to public service, inspired by the belief that everyone is our neighbour, and that, Mr Speaker, is a lesson that we should all seek to live by. As I said, Mr Speaker, last week the government has made clear its commitment to tackling anti-Semitic attacks. Following the incident this week, I want to restate our position that attacks on British Jews are an attack on all of us. We will do whatever it takes to stop those who seek to intimidate our Jewish communities. Mr Speaker, we are approaching the end of the session, and at its conclusion, this parliamentary session will see the delivery of more than 50 government bills, and we will continue to build on this in the next parliamentary session. I want to say something about capita, Mr Speaker, and a statement was made to this House which provided an update on capita and civil service pensions. And I know that members across the House will welcome the update. And I want to assure members that the issues that they raised with me in this forum are heard by the government, and where we can, the government acts. And before I turn to the remarks of the honourable gentleman, can I also, Mr Speaker, wish everyone, including all members of this House who are taking part in the London Marathon this Sunday, the very best of luck. Let me turn to the remarks of the honourable gentleman and join him in saying how saddened we are to learn of the death of Jamie Tweedy. It is far too soon, but let us remember him for the way in which his friends and family are making sure that he is not forgotten and that his untimely death leaves a legacy of which they should be proud. The honourable gentleman mentioned the peace talks, and I want to join him, of course, in hoping that the peace talks are successful. We want the ceasefire to continue. We want to ensure that the Straits of Hormuz are open, because, as he points out, if not, then it will prolong the expected economic damage, not just to our economy, but to others too. But I just want to put on record, Mr Speaker, what has unfolded in that part of the world demonstrates that the PM's judgment on not joining the war in the first place was absolutely correct. And he has spent his time, Mr Speaker, with diplomatic efforts to make sure, working with others, to make sure that the Straits of Hormuz are open at the earliest opportunity. Let me now turn to the remarks of the honourable gentleman around domestic politics, and he's perfectly entitled to make his case, Mr Speaker. But just let me remind the House that the Prime Minister came here at the earliest opportunity on Monday and faced questions for 2.5 hours. It was followed by an emergency debate for 3 hours on Tuesday, in which members had an opportunity to make their case and ask their questions. The Prime Minister faced Prime Minister's questions for about 45 minutes yesterday, in which he was questioned extensively on this. The Foreign Affairs Select Committee is doing its job in holding decision makers to account, and there have been numerous opportunities, Mr Speaker, including Cabinet Office questions which have just finished, for other questions to be put on the question of Peter Mandelson. I cannot, and the government cannot, be held responsible, Mr Speaker, for the fact that the Leader of the Opposition has been so hopeless during these events that she cannot hold effectively the government to account. Let me just mention, because the honourable gentleman has been reading too many newspapers, let me just mention the question of prorogation, because I've just read out to the House, Mr Speaker, the business next week,
Order. Mr Stafford, we're getting very carried away. Please enjoy yourself on the front bench. It's not the place to be thrown out from. Come on.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. I've just read out the business, Mr Speaker, which includes, if necessary, Wednesday and Thursday, where we will be dealing with Lord's amendments. And if that is the case, the honourable gentleman is asking about PMQs. If the House is still sitting, then PMQs will take place, and I would imagine, Mr Speaker, business questions will take place too, if we're still sitting on Thursday. So there's nothing in what I've read out which suggests anything that is not usual. He talks about, Mr Speaker, the record of not just this government, but he then goes on to the question of what is happening in Scotland. So let me disagree with him about the way in which this government will be judged, Mr Speaker, because the borrowing figures show that we're borrowing less than at any time in the last 4 years. Unemployment, Mr Speaker, has come down. Inflation and interest rates were falling, and waiting lists are coming down too. Now, I accept, Mr Speaker, that we are facing the turmoil of the fallout from the situation in the Middle East. But let me just say to the House that when these events happen, this country, as a result of the action that we have taken in the last 2 years, are much better placed to see out these challenges than the previous government was. But let me also, however, my final point is I'm going to agree with the honourable gentleman in what he says about the situation north of the border, at least as it pertains to the SNP. The voters suggest, Mr Speaker, that they are tiring of the SNP government. After 2 decades in government, it is time for change. The SNP have had the biggest settlement since devolution, and they are failing across the board on public services. And I expect that voters will want to take that opportunity to make their position clear. But let me finally disagree with him, because the way to do that is to vote Labour.